every once in a while when I check the comments and the sections on our comments before, people would bring up, they say, you guys call the show Black and White, but you guys don't talk about racial stuff. You don't talk about any of that stuff. And I was like, well, I don't think that was really the idea of our show. I think, Lana's black, I'm white. And we thought it was just kind of a play on words. And it's also a term that is used, black and white, that is familiar with a lot of people. So I thought it was a good name for the show. So did Lana. So that's what we called it. And I don't think Lana and we have talked race before. Yeah. I don't think we're certainly.
I don't know how to talk without injecting race, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure people are always like, you always talk about race.
Yeah. I mean, we've certainly talked about, we don't shy away from it. I think, for the most part, I think maybe some of the problem though, Lana, is for some people is that we don't argue like everybody's got to see on TV and all that stuff. And I think it's probably because you and I done this show together. I think it's safe to say we got to know each other before we started doing this show, and we became friendly and we knew each other, at least on a level of, why would I want to do a show with this guy? And why would I want to do a show with her? So that's what it really came down to. And I think we're basically on the same page. And I think that's why this works for us. Right. But you alluded to this earlier. Stephen A. Smith made a lot of news.
Here's the race talk, guys. So is that what you want?
Get ready for some race talk, but I don't know that you're going to see any argument between Lana and myself, because I think we're on the same page here. We'll find out. Tune in to find out, to see whether or not Lana and I are on the same page about Stephen A. Smith. I know I have my opinions about it, and I know Lana does too, only because I can peek at her Twitter, and every once in a while see what she posts on there. Actually, I can see it a lot, but anyway, if you don't know who Stephen A. Smith is, he is a very, very famous sports broadcaster. And Stephen A. Smith is somebody that probably has changed what sports broadcasting is nowadays. Him and there's the other guy, what's his name? He damn it, big Cowboys fan. Him and he was a writer for in Dallas, and they would be on the show, and basically the whole show is them two yelling and screaming at each other. Now that's all sports talk is people yelling and screaming at each other, and it is annoying. I can't stand it, so I don't watch it anymore. The only sports I watch anymore is live sports.
Is the other guy a football player?
No, he it's going to come to me. It's right on the tip of my tongue. If anybody's listening, please let me know. His name starts with an S, and it's going to come to me. And you know what, Lana? We talked about getting older. Every show, I'm forgetting a fucking name. Every show now. Yeah, and they're playing about Joe Biden.
It's the worst thing ever.
Oh, my God. It is just annoying. It's right on the tip of my tongue, too. But anyway, so that's what sports talk has become. It's become yelling and screaming and all this stuff. But Stephen A. Smith is also apparently close with Sean Hannity. So he's been on Sean Hannity's show before. They've become friendly with each other. And he was on there last week. Skip Bayless. That's his name. Skip Bayless. But he was on Sean Hannity's show last week. I'm sure you've seen the clip, but if you don't know who Stephen A. Smith is and you haven't seen the clip, let's just play the clip first, listen to what he had to say, and we'll talk about the controversy that this sparked.
Tell you something. As much as people may have been abhorred by Donald Trump's statement weeks ago, talking about how black folks, he's hearing that black folks find him relatable because what he's going through is similar to what black Americans have gone through. He wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. When you see the law enforcement, the court system, and everything else being exercised against him, it is something that black folks throughout this nation can relate to with some of our historic, iconic figures. We've seen that happen throughout society. So no matter what race, what ethnicity you may emanate from, we relate to you when you're suffering like that because we know we have. And that's what he articulated.
All right, Lana, I'm going to let you talk first on this. I mean, obviously, I've got a lot to say, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on what Stephen A. Smith had to say basically about the Black community changing their vote from Joe Biden or anybody else to Donald Trump, which still I'm not even really sure is true. But
no, that's not happening. That's
Yeah.
not true. We know better. Like I got so much to say. So like one, Stephen A. Smith is like going on those tropes that Black people are criminals, right? So like that's the first thing. Like why is he saying the same thing that Donald Trump is saying? Like, oh yeah, Black people can relate because you know what Donald Trump is going through in this system is is what Black people go through. But the Black community, all of us, like I don't know. It's like you're saying we're criminals. Like we can relate to the criming, and what the fuck is that? It's almost like you're taking one racist statement and making it even more racist because you're a Black man saying that Black people could be relate, and then he still turned around and said, the system's been exercised against Trump. So that's why Black people also can relate because we can relate to the suffering. What the fuck suffering is Donald Trump going through? Like, it's so different. Donald Trump has 94 felonies, a few of which they've taken off. So maybe it's 90s. 90 counts.
It's like
I don't
89,
know.
88 now, I think. Yeah.
He has those. He has been indicted. He is going through the criminal system as it has been designed.
No, he's going through it easier and better than anybody else has.
But he's actually going through it, right? So like what? No one is exercising anything criminal against Donald Trump. Like no one is like, Donald Trump hasn't been arrested because of the color of his skin only. That's not what's happening. Donald Trump has.
They're not arresting orange people, Lana.
Right, they're not arresting orange people.
Yeah,
but he has been indicted by a jury of his peers. He's been indicted by what are those people called?
Grand juries.
The grand jury. He's been indicted by them. Black people, the ones that may not have committed a crime, are racially profiled and put through the system even when they're innocent. So I don't understand how we're connecting the two. Stephen A. What's this man's name? Smith. Stephen A. Smith. Like we knew Stephen A. Smith was on the cusp anyway with the Black community. So let's just be real with that, because Stephen A. Smith, after Trayvon Martin was murdered, came out here talking about Black men in hoodies and wearing their pants saggy. Like, you deserve to be stopped, or you deserve to get what you get, which that's crazy. Funny, me and DA had this conversation today. Martin Luther King wore suits, spoke eloquently. He was murdered. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. It can still happen to you because of the color of your skin. So it's disappointing, but it's not surprised because, a lot of, again, Black men in particular being white adjacent. You said he's friends with Hannity. Mm-hmm. So white adjacent, like that's the white supremacy thing when we say the Candace Owens and the Clarence Thomas.
Another figure too, by the way, who just recently passed, O.J. Simpson, was one of those guys too.
Right. They support white supremacy. And that just means they support white being supreme. That's all that means. Like, it's white adjacent. It's important to them. So they will disconnect from the Black community. Like, they don't understand what's going on over here, just to get a boy and the welcome to the club. Here's your cigar, hanging out with Hannity. Like, what are y'all saying behind the scenes, man? If you say this kind of stuff, you may get a whole different audience, and then your platform is going to grow even more, because that's really what I think this is. But
yeah, I think, based on a lot of what you just said, the thing that really just irritates me, it's kind of like The Rock going on Fox News. He knows going on Fox News on Sean Hannity's show, right, like saying that, it's not like he was caught on a hot mic saying that. He went on Sean Hannity, who, by the way, is not just friends with Donald Trump. He consulted with Donald Trump throughout his presidency. This is a guy who's on a national news telecast, and he's consulting with Donald Trump. And to come out on national TV and not just say, that Black people should be able to relate with Donald Trump because he's criming, is saying that Donald Trump has told the truth. And he said it in that voice with conviction, like he was trying to please Sean Hannity and the viewers of Fox News. That's exactly how that came across. And now he's backpedaling, and he's backpedaled 2 or 3 times. And today
we didn't hear it. Sorry.
Well, he came out with an apology, and it's just like every one of these narcissistic personalities it's basically like, I'm kind of apologizing, but I'm still going to tell you how you guys are wrong.
Right.
I have this apology, Lana, and I'm going to play it. This one's about 5 minutes long, but I'm going to let you make the call on how long you want this to go. And if there's anything like you want to stop and listen to it. But some of it we can fast forward to, but I think the first couple minutes is where you can listen to it, and it gets really irritating. It irritated me, and we'll probably stop it a couple times. But if there's any time you want to stop, let me know. But I know I probably will. But here is Stephen A. Smith. By the way, I want to point out that the reason why I think he feels necessary to make this apology now is because he was blasted by the Black community about what he had to say, and to say that the fact that you have gone on the Sean Hannity show on Fox News to say that Donald Trump was telling the truth about Black people and that he's being persecuted the same way we are is outrageous.
And like Martin Luther King, like our historical figures, he said, like,
the NAACP responded to him. And, so when you have, a lot of, Black leaders and people with, Black voices that have a lot of influence came out, and they were not happy about this at all. But Stephen A. Smith, he does have one of these personalities where he kind of wants to do, I'll say whatever the fuck I want and fuck you. But sometimes you almost have to realize what you said is outrageously ridiculous. But this is his half-ass apology. And, if there's anything you want to stop, let me know. But let's take a look.
To touch on something that I made news about just a few days ago.
He's going to do the soft
Let me say
voice
this,
first.
ladies and gentlemen. Accountability is where everything needs to begin in this world. It's something I say quite often.
So far,
I certainly
so good.
never hesitate to hold folks accountable when mistakes or mishaps occur. So I'm certainly not about to run from it myself. I'm fully aware that I've been in the news over the last few days, paraded all over social media as well.
I hate to say this, Lana. He loves that he's in the news like this. He loves it. He loves it.
It was the plan.
Yep.
By design.
Yep.
After comments I made during my appearance on Fox News' Hannity last week with the one and only Sean Hannity himself.
One and only.
And I'm fully aware of the outcry that has ensued because of it. A lot of folks in Black America seem pretty pissed at me right now, from friends and loved ones to colleagues, contemporaries, and dare I say even the NAACP itself. Quite a few folks were put off, if not flat out offended, after my words were interpreted as associating support for Trump from the Black community with all the legal issues he's facing. For that, I sincerely apologize. But to be clear, my words were misconstrued.
It's coming.
I'm stating right here for the record that my words were taken out of context, misrepresenting and depicting me in a way I found every bit as insulting and
Lana, this is the whole new, this is the Trump world. I mean, don't get me wrong. This kind of behavior has existed before in the past, but now it's this idea that we hear what the fuck you said, and now you're going to sit here and look at us in the face and say, I didn't say that.
And the apology that he tried to make, and it wasn't even an apology, but after he said it, and then when he turned around and said, y'all are misconstruing what I'm saying, but we heard you actually say those words that he said he didn't say, and now he's doing an apology, and he about to crane his neck and be like, and that.
Oh, it gets better. So it gets. Well, I shouldn't say better. It gets more annoying.
disrespectful as folks in Black America evidently felt about what they thought I said. But I'll own it anyway.
Okay.
Because, you know,
that makes me so mad. And that has, listen, it's got nothing to do with the black and white issue. It has nothing to do with the fact that he's black, I'm white, whatever. It just annoys me when somebody says, I'm going to take accountability, and then you do it in that manner, like, I'll do it anyway. I know I'm still right, and I know you idiots are wrong, but guess what? I'm going to bow down to you. And he's saying it in that very condescending
not
way.
Really.
Yeah. Yep.
I know I'm right.
Please know that I know the buck stops with me. I'm in the communication business. I've been here for 30 years. So regardless of whatever interpretation that accompanies any words coming out of my mouth, the responsibility ultimately lies with me first and foremost before anybody else. I've always felt that way. I still do. I always will. Period. Blacks who refuse to support Trump are aware of his history of issues. And we'll never forget how Trump claimed Obama, the nation's first black president, wasn't even qualified to hold office because he was born in Kenya, although Trump recanted the statement during the 2016 campaign.
Lana, I'm going to go back because I want you to hear what he said after that.
Sorry. He said,
because this annoys me too. Listen.
Trump recanted the statement during his 2016.
Go back one more second here.
Kenya, although Trump recanted the statement during his 2016 campaign run.
Although Trump recanted the statement. So he's defending Trump again. Second of all, I don't even know if he did. Do you know, did he recant the statement?
Donald Trump never recants anything. Are we joking right now? Obama showed his home. Donald Trump wanted Central Park 5 executed. They were exonerated. He never came back and said, oh, I shouldn't have said that. He doubled down. Trump doubled down. He doesn't recant.
That made me so mad because I was like, first of all, I don't ever recall him recanting. And let's just say he did for a half a second and he said it in some dumb rally or something like that. It's not like he was apologetic about it and was like, you know what, that was terrible and wrong of me and I should have never have done that.
God,
the fact that he even... I was really a full-on defense of Donald Trump saying that Obama was born in Kenya, and now you can tell he's still mad that he has to do this. It's two things, Lana. He's mad, but he loves it at the same time.
And somebody wrote this for him, and he added that, right? He's like, well, if I'm saying that, I have to add that Trump recanted it. Like,
I'll be honest with you, Lana. I think this is all him. I don't think I don't think Stephen A. Smith let somebody write something for him because, first of all, if somebody wrote something for him, I would have read it and go, there's no fucking way I'm saying this. I'm sitting here. This is an apology video, but it's not an apology. I think this is just his narcissistic.
Oh, well, see, it feels like he's reading it and it feels like his publicist was like, you got to apologize at minimum.
Here's the good news for him. He is ESPN right now. He is the entire network. So he is almost untouchable. Yeah, it is. He's almost untouchable there.
I didn't even want to watch that before the countdown. I'm just like, oh my God, Stephen A. Smith, and he has on the fucking pink suit. I hate you. Like
this also goes back to, by the way, of you could say whatever you want. You're on Sean Hannity's show saying that, you know, and that you could say whatever you want. He's doing his apologies. But again, sometimes there are ramifications for your words. And some people just don't like it. And that's not because they're too sensitive. It's not because they they wake up every day wanting to go after Stephen A. Smith. I'm a white guy. This is outrageous commentary. For a black person to hear this, I would imagine I know it drives you nuts because I've seen the comments and I've seen the reaction towards it. Unreal.
The presidency. Yet Trump's dissenters were not the topic of discussion when I was talking to Hannity. The support he appears to be receiving in the polls was what was being discussed. 5 polls. Count them, 5. Emerson.
Look how
NBC
mad
News,
he's getting now.
Daily Goss.
I'm going to fast forward.
So far as Trump gaining support in the black community, well, how about various publications with these headlines? the Chicago Tribune.
I'm done.
This
Yeah, okay.
Trump
All right.
does seem to
I'm
be.
just done.
Yeah.
Like he's gone. He's a pig. He may own ESPN, but he's definitely destroying himself with like his next act after that, because like, dude, what are you auditioning for Fox next? Because that's where you're gonna end up, because like, oh, you're working with like the majority of the Black community, and you're out here celebrating the guy who wanted to execute 5 teens.
He's not a stupid guy, but even people who can be smart say a lot of stupid things. What he said was stupid. The only thing I can imagine at this point now is ESPN probably called him and said, dude, you are our entire, you cannot do this. You're an entire platform. We don't want to fire you. So, you know what? Say what you got to say. And then that's it. Drop it. No more. We don't need to hear your opinions anymore on the election. Just please, you're here to talk about sports. And again, I'm not somebody that says just because you're a sports guy that you shouldn't be allowed to talk about politics. You should be able to. But, you know, you also represent an entire broadcasting system in ESPN. I mean, like I said, he is the network right now. He runs that entire network. And, you know, when you're that important to the network, sometimes you got to be careful about what you say. And I don't know, man, that just, that one was.
And he can vote for who he wants to vote for. He can support who he wants to
He
support.
still says he's not a Trump supporter, by the way.
But he absolutely is. Like, his words are like, you can't lose the words like, you know, the one and only Sean Hannity. Like, there's a deal being made somewhere. Something is happening. They've spoken. Like, maybe he wants the audience. Maybe he wants more MAGA watching ESPN. Like, maybe he's trying to get into that, you know, that thing of where that
what
is.
it is, Lana, what it is, and you're hitting onto something, and you're right. What it is that Stephen A. Smith is so big at ESPN that the idea is that there are a lot of young Black men who watch sports and love Stephen A. Smith. So if you hear Stephen A. Smith on a clip talking about how Donald Trump is just like us, now we can get those Black voters to come over to our side. And it is a plan. You are right. It is a plan.
Right. And I'm just trying to figure out, what did he get from Sean Hannity? Because this is a deal. This is all this is.
I think you're onto something. There was talk. It was like, hey, you come on the show and then you say this. And now he's getting backlash. And now he knows he's in this deal. So he can't 100% commit to saying, hey, I was wrong. By the way, that was fucking stupid.
Right.
He's got to do the, I understand, even the NAACP is after me, but how about these headlines? How about this? How about when this says this? And how about when that says that? And that's all I was saying. It's like,
because that's what that is. And that's almost like Sean Hannity's like, here's these headlines, and here are the polls that we're using. Like, because it's not even true. And Trump's not even leading in the polls like that. He can't even get anyone to go outside of the fucking court in New York. Like, he is not. You saw those comments under Stephen Hill. Did that sound like Black people were supporting that shit? It didn't to me.
I mean, it was a firestorm, Lana. I don't know how much you saw about it online, but it was, I mean, I'm talking about, it was, I mean, I literally saw almost every comment I saw was from somebody of color, and they were not happy about that. They were like, dude, what are you doing? But you're right. See, Donald Trump knows he is cornered, and so does MAGA. MAGA knows they are on their last stand, and they are desperate. And now they're hearing Joe Biden is starting to come back, and they hear the abortion thing, and they're freaking the fuck out. So everything is planned. Everything is something where, what can we do to get more voters to continue to sucker people into thinking that Donald Trump is better for you? Oh, let's get Stephen A. Smith, who's a huge voice
who's
in the sports arena.
Who's a weak link with the Black community. Like, because he really is kind of a weak link. Like, he's the one that they can turn, right? Like, they knew that they could turn that dude.
There's another gentleman named Jason Whitlock. He is he's a sportscaster, but nowhere near in the same. I mean, he's famous for, if you know sports, you know Jason Whitlock, but he's one of these guys who's basically ostracized from the community because he's another one of those black sportscasters who just is pro-Trump. He's, you know, and I think his only outlet now is on Ben Shapiro's channel.
Right.
But he's not the big fish. Stephen A. Smith is the big fish here.
Or Charles Barkley would have done something like this.
Well, Charles Barkley did say that he was he endorsed Nikki Haley, is what he said, which was disappointing. But he also can't stand Donald Trump, and that he's made pretty clear about. So, but again, I think we're in a desperation field now, and they're going to do, Lana. Yeah. And this sounds terrible to say, but we've talked about this before. I don't think that there's any way that Donald Trump, his associates, whoever, is not in touch with people at the Supreme Court. They're not in touch with, with people who can make things happen for him in these trials. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he is in touch with other countries to try to help set up some sort of attack.
He's been meeting with the ex-Japanese president or prime minister today. He's got another meeting with some other country's prime minister. Like, he's got all these foreign meetings coming up. Absolutely. Absolutely. Is he talking to Eileen Cannon? Absolutely.
Yep. No question. No doubt about it. There's some funneling going on to these judges, whether directly through him, or he knows he's like the Godfather. He knows I'm not directly talking to him, but here's exactly what you tell them. And again, I am far from a conspiracy theorist, but don't fucking tell me that there is no reason to believe that this is going on. Come on. I mean, this guy is desperate, and he's already proven out to be somebody who will do anything.
We heard him call Roethlisberger or whatever his name is. He's absolutely having these people call and say, "What can you do for me? What's that ruling going to be on the immunity case? The hearing's coming up on the 25th. What's going on with it?" Yes, he absolutely is.
Yeah, if you want to call this a conspiracy, you can, but it's based off of something. Usually conspiracies are based off of nothing. This is based off of something that has, some legitimacy to it.
And it's what he does. We know that we have heard him on the phone calling people to get things done, including Michael Cohen. We heard it.
We did.